Hey gang, Captain Mike Anderson here with The Real Animals. I want to introduce you today to my favorite wintertime Mirrolure bundle. Now this is going to be available on realanimals.com. Some of the new stuff we've been promising that's coming on the website. You'll be able to go online, either buy these individually or buy the entire pack. My favorite wintertime Mirrolure baits is stuff that I'm using right now to catch snook, redfish, and trout, flounder, a lot of different species. You know, I talked a little bit about this bait before. This is the new Mirrolure Marshminnow Junior. And I was so excited when Eric Bachman called me and said, hey, we're coming out with a junior. You guys know I love the Marshminnow. I'm a big time paddle tail guy. This thing right here in the molting color, you know, a lot of times in the back estuaries that we fish on low tides, what you'll have running around is you'll have some real small mullet in some of those back creeks. And what you're able to do with this is either fish it on a jig head or fish it weedless and drag it real slow on the bottom. You get that vibration, especially in those back bays where the bottom is really dark and that water temp comes up a couple clicks. Water temp is everything in the winter, and wherever it's a little bit warmer, they get a little more aggressive and they're more apt to chase down a bait. That's when I like to use one of these, something on that dark bottom that I can just kind of roll across the bottom. They feel that vibration in the water. This is a perfect bait for that. Now remember, your water temp isn't very high yet, so a lot of times they're not taking big baits. That's where the junior comes in handy because it's a smaller profile, so they don't assume that they're taking on a real big bait that's going to take too much time for them to digest. Fish's metabolism slows down a bunch in the wintertime, so they don't take on the big meals. Sometimes some species do, like a big gator trout, you know, up in the shallows, they'll eat a giant pilchard or a giant mullet certain times, but they won't eat again for days. So in those instances, we have you covered there as well, because I have my favorite colored Marshminnow, a little bigger profile, same grade action in the tail. Again, you can fish it weedless, fish it on a jig head. This works really good for those big trout up shallow. And then of course, on the hard bait side, we had to get a little crazy. A lot of guys like throwing topwaters for big speckled trout in the wintertime, and I do too. A lot of times, again, back bay, dark bottom areas, that's where I find those big gator trout. When I'm talking big gator trout, I'm not talking 17 to 19 inches. I'm talking anything 20 to 26, 27 inches. Those big girls get up real shallow, and on a nice calm morning, I love to throw the she-dog. I think this is my favorite for sure in the line of all the topwater plugs that Mirrolure has, and they've got a lot of great ones. This is my favorite for sure. Again, I like the rattle because I think it irritates some of those fish up there. I like that color. I like the orange belly. I think it's a great color. This is 83 MR GCRBO, orange belly. I love the shiny side on it, the black top, big red eyes. Mirrolure's done a great job with their topwater baits. Again, kind of a bigger profile for some of those big gator trout up there that like to chew hardcore. Now, if I'm chasing redfish, regular speckled trout, maybe some slot speckled trout, things like that, Mirrolure Little John, really, really hard to beat. This is that watermelon copper glitter. You can kind of see those colors kind of dancing in the sun a little bit. I like this bait because you can drag it, again, drag it through the grass. Rig it weedless, rig it on a jig head where it kind of stands up a little bit. You get that wave in the water. They assume it's a shrimp and they come over and pile drive it. Remember, wintertime, a lot of times they're on a crustacean feed. Mirrolure Little John is really tough to beat. Also, the Mirrolure Little John XL. Now, this is the chicken color. Now, and I know you've seen me catch a lot of redfish, trout, big snook up in Crystal River, Homosassa, Steenahatchee on this particular color in the Marshminnow. The paddle tail in this version works really, really well as well. But in the wintertime, I like to go with this profile. For me, this is my slide bait, okay? Because this is the one I rig it almost exclusively weedless, and I slide it through the grass. Real slow and real deliberate. Big trout, redfish, they absolutely punish this bait. I'm not sure why this color scheme works so good in the wintertime here on West Central Florida's waters, but it really, really works for me. If I had to win a tournament, a go-to bait for big bait in the, or big fish in the grass, that would be my choice right there. And then obviously you cannot put a Mirrolure package together without the trusty Mirrodine. A lot of times those fish fall off into some of those deeper holes. Again, late in the afternoon, the water temps come up a couple clicks. They start to see a little bait on the flats. This is your go-to for sure get it done. MR17-18, the original Mirrolure Mirrodine, greenback kind of color, perfect bait. You can't get a Mirrolure bundle, in my opinion, without this particular Mirrodine. It's a go-to for me. And keep in mind, Mirrolure has so many great colors that, you know, water clarity and things like that can always change. But for an easy pack to get your hands on, we put this together, put it on reelanimals.com. You can come here, you can get them individually, you can buy the whole pack, some great jig heads, some great weighted bass hooks. You're all set. It's all you need to do to attack this winter, catch more fish than you've ever caught. Go to reelanimals.com, go to the store, check them out. We hope you love them as much as we do.